Good evening, everyone. This is Pam Dunwell with Conversations with Your Nurse Advocates Consulting. And we are episode 32, and we are so super excited to have Tina Baxter with us here tonight. Tina has a long list of qualifications, and she's an amazing person. She is a legal nurse consultant. She's a nurse practitioner. She is a wellness coach. She's a biz consultant for the Nurse Shark Academy, which when we're done with everything, I want you to mention a little bit about all these things. And then you have a company, is it Baxter Professional Services?
Yes, I do.
So a lot of accolades there. So tonight, Tina was going to talk to us a really very pertinent topic is wills and advance directives. So we're going to have her share a little bit. Please feel free for those that are live with us tonight. Please type in your question. I'll post it up on the screen so we can see that. And I also want to just take a minute to thank those of you that are going to watch this on the replay. So with that being said, Tina, why don't you get started and share with us what you wanted to talk about as far as wills and advance directives go.
Okay. Well, I started to really get interested in this topic because as a nurse practitioner and as you know, your audience is a lot of nurses, we all know what happens when families don't have their advance directives. Oftentimes you get a family member, sometimes from out of town, and they haven't seen the changes in mom or dad, and it looks like a sudden decline to them, but it's really been gradual to us. And then we have those discussions about end-of-life care, and there could be some resistance. And sometimes if the elder has dementia, then they can't make their wishes known. And so I being, caught in the middle of those conversations as a nurse practitioner, I was looking for a better way and a way to educate people about getting their wills completed and their advance directives. So just an interesting fact, about 44% of Americans don't have a will. And
Wow.
So a lot of people don't understand what that means to die without a will. And so a lot of people say, well, I want everything to go to my kids. I don't really have anything. My family members will take care of my kids. But what we've seen, particularly with coming out of COVID, is that may not necessarily be true. And then if you don't have a will, who gets to decide those decisions for you? Oftentimes it's the state. The state will appoint someone, if there's a family member that's close to you, to your estate and to direct your affairs. But sometimes if they can't find anyone, then it falls to the state and they will appoint someone like a trustee to do those things. And so what you thought might happen may not happen.
Yeah, that's, in the hospital and in many settings, we see that. And then, people don't understand, why they can't just make a decision. Well, it doesn't work that way. Once they're not competent to make their own decision and they haven't appointed someone, they're really stuck.
And what happens is there's conflict in the family. I had a case where a gentleman had stage 4 cancer that had metastasized. He was in long-term care. Basically, he was there to die. And he was still getting chemotherapy for palliative care. It wasn't even for curative. It was just for palliation. And the second wife, by the way, younger wife, wanted him to continue to have treatments because he had a teenage son. But the patient himself, the resident, didn't want the treatments. And his adult daughters were siding with the patient. But because he hadn't made his wishes known to us, we had to keep sending him for chemo. Mm-hmm. So I went to him at the bedside and I told him, look, I know you can hear us because you know how they like to play possum sometimes. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to be in the conflict, so he just pretended to sleep.
Yep.
I said, I know you can hear us. And your wife is saying that we have to take you to chemo. So if you don't want to go, you need to wake up and tell us that you want to stop this treatment, because otherwise she's going to make us continue to send you. So he did. He was able to tell us, in front of witnesses, and she was there. She fought it. But we stopped the chemo treatment, and then he was able to die peacefully. But that conflict could have been resolved had he had his advance directives in place, had he had his will in place, so that at least the wife and the adult daughters, would know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. So what's the difference to tell the audience, Tina, what's the difference between that will and the advance directives?
Okay. So your will, meaning your last will and testament, is about your estate. So what assets that you have, such as your home, your car, your investments, your retirement accounts. Who do you want to have those things, those items? And also, it could be included in there what you want to have happen to your physical body. Do you want to be cremated? Did you want to be buried? Did you want to be shot up in a firecracker, like on that movie Palms, right? So it's up to you to decide what happens to you at that time. So your advance directive, your medical advance directive, there are two things. You get a living will, which says your wishes. If you want to be resuscitated, if you wanted a feeding tube, if you wanted to be put on a ventilator, if you wanted IV antibiotics. Or, and you can get designated healthcare power of attorney, someone that you trust to follow your advance directives and your wishes with your living will. So in my case, I've already had this discussion with my family. My husband has my power of attorney. He's number one. My mom is number two. Under no circumstances is my dad to have my power of attorney for my medical decisions, because I love my dad, but he'll have me hooked up to everything known to man because I know he won't make that decision. So I've taken that out of his hands, and I told him that you don't get a say in this. You can try to influence mom, but I trust her to do what I ask. Mm-hmm. And so that's important. You have to know who you can trust and who is capable of making those decisions for you.
So with those advance directives or living will, I know each state is different. Is that correct? Each
Yes.
state has their own, because people may be listening. Are there a lot of variations that you know of, Tina, or what are some examples that might vary from state to state?
Some states will separate things out, like be very succinct. Your healthcare power of attorney is one, your living will is another. Other states have what's called a post form, which is a form that you get filled out by your healthcare provider, that you verbally tell them what your wishes are, and they'll fill that form out and have you sign it. So there's a different things, and it may be whether or not you have to have it notarized. Some states require those things to be notarized. So that's something that you want to ask your attorney.
And I know too, in the state of Wisconsin, and I'm sure it's probably similar in other states. And I know, Tina, you're from, in Indiana, but I know in our state, you have two witnesses can sign it, and it absolutely cannot be any family members. Is that pretty much standard?
Yeah, that's what I've seen so far, but it may vary, but most of the time it's not a family member. So when I had a lady that I take care of in the nursing home, we had to get her POA paperwork. And this is for POA, not just for her healthcare decisions, but also for her assets to manage her affairs. And because her family was not capable of doing it. So we had a couple of paralegals to witness that.
And I know too, and we've had experiences, and this is, good for people to know as well, is they think they have this advance directive in place that, they think, and then someone comes in the hospital and they're really not able to make decisions, only to find out that advance directive is null and void because they had family members sign it. So, it would need to be done all over again. So, so Tina, where can people go, to get some help or get these advance directives filled out?
Well, there's a lot of websites out there that you can pull things from to get basic information. But what I've found is that a lot of times they aren't state specific. And so you want to make sure that you find one that is specific to your state. Or what I really recommend is that you get with an estate planning attorney, because there may be a lot of questions that you may want answered about your will. And sometimes do it yourself doesn't work. So in instance, if you have a blended family and you have children from a previous relationship, how do you make those adjustments and who gets what and all of that and make it legal? That applies to your state. So I always encourage you to get with an estate attorney. If you are a limited means, there is the asking for help with legal aid. However, legal aid is very much backed up. They've got a lot of cases and it can take a long time. And you may not get all that you need because it's going to be very simple and basic. And so you have a complicated estate with trusts and things like that. You really want to get an estate planner. What's nice is that we do have a product and a service that can do that for people at an affordable price. And so we found a way to make it affordable for you.
That's awesome. And we'll let you tell us a little bit more about that. as well, because I'm very interested in hearing about that information. One of the things too, and I don't know if that's in every state, but I know in Wisconsin too, if you just want a very simple, just advanced directive where not related to the wills or that, sometimes you can go to the clinic or social workers at the hospital can help you prepare that too, especially if you need to come up with something rather quickly. Has that been your experience as well, Tina?
Yes, we certainly can do that and help them with the medical advance directives in particular. It's a little bit more sticky when you're dealing with finances and that type of stuff.
Absolutely.
But for a medical advance directive, you can go tell your doctor what your wishes are, and then you can document it in the chart. You can have them fill out that post form, or sometimes at the hospitals they'll have forms for you to fill out. And I need to also say that a do not resuscitate order is different from a living will. A do not resuscitate order says that if your heart were to stop, then we should not attempt CPR. But a living will says whether or not you want a feeding tube, you want IV antibiotics, you want to be intubated. So there are a lot of nuances to that. And so sometimes we use those terms across the board, but we shouldn't do that. It's not interchangeable, because your do not resuscitate order applies to the hospital setting or in facility setting of not doing CPR on you. And
while we're on, just maybe go down just a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but when we're talking about a DNR or a post form, so if someone wants to be in a DNR, what kind of things do they have to have in the home, or what? Because I hear all these stories all the time for years about how people want to be, a do not resuscitate, but yet they call the ambulance comes, they have nothing there, the ambulance has to, perform CPR. So what things do they have to have in place if they truly want to be a do not resuscitate?
Well, first thing I always say, talk to your family, because if they don't know what your wishes are, they're going to opt on, let's save mom, right? So let them know. And then oftentimes we have them put it on their refrigerator so that they know where it is, and let their family know where it is. So if they have a do not resuscitate, they can send that with them to them. And then, of course, hopefully it'll be on your medical record that will be readily accessible at the hospital or at your doctor's office.
And I know some states still have the DNR bracelets. Sometimes some states have those. But again, please, check with another good resource for those kind of things would be your Aging and Disability Resource Center, to kind of check on what your state requires too as well. So Tina, talk a little bit about your workshop that you have.
The Nurse Shark Academy or the Will Workshop.
The Will Workshop first.
Okay. So the Will Workshop. So I put together a workshop that kind of goes over some basic information about getting your wills and some facts and what it means if you were to die without a will, and some of the special rules that may apply. And again, they're very state specific. So for example, if you have vacation property in another state and you die without a will, then that state where the property is located, those rules apply, not the rules of the state where you reside. So there could be some sticky changes in there. So with the Will Workshop, I allow people to ask questions. Again, I'm not an attorney, so I don't give legal advice. I give basic information, but then I also help them get access to an attorney if they should need one.
And how would they, if they wanted to learn more about that, where would they go? And I'm going to just put that in the chat and post that. So,
okay, great. Yeah, so they can go to our website, BaxterProfessionalServices.com, and look on the events page. And when we have our Will Workshop, it will also be on our page for events, or they can go to our Facebook page, Baxter Professional Services Facebook page, and we list our events there. And the third option is to check us out on Eventbrite, and they can find the Will Workshop. It's no cost to anyone. It's done via Zoom. Occasionally I will do some in person, but with COVID, everything's gone to Zoom. So I do the Will Workshop on Zoom, and I usually have it once a month.
Awesome. That's wonderful. When is the next one coming up?
The next one is coming up in October, and that will be on, let me double check the calendar real quick. The next one will be on October the 23rd.
Okay.
And they're usually during the day in the morning. That's a Saturday. And so most of the time it's anywhere between 10 to noon is when I schedule them. But I try to, it's only a half an hour. So I try
Okay.
to schedule around other things and switch up the time every now and then. For
Okay.
some people that are early birds, and that's Eastern Standard Time. And then other people are, they prefer the afternoon. So I kind of switch it up. But so the next one isn't on the calendar yet, but it's going to be going on the calendar tomorrow.
Awesome. I didn't get. We do have some. We do have some people that are on. I don't have any questions before we move on and ask Tina to discuss some of the other things that she does. Does anybody have any questions regarding advanced directives or wills? If so, please just go ahead and post it in the comment, and then we'll share that. Otherwise, we'll move on. So while we're waiting to see if we have any questions or comments, so Tina, tell us a little bit about your Baxter Professional Services. What does that all entail?
Okay, so I am a legal nurse consultant, and I work with attorneys on medical malpractice cases, personal injury, product liability cases, and do medical record review, expert witness testimonies. So that's the first part of the business, and that's how I started Baxter Professional Services. I had been a teacher and taught a CPR and first aid for many years, and so I started incorporating that into the business as well. So I trained in CPR, first aid, and TB certification. And then a few years ago, I started getting questions from people, nurses in particular, asking me, well, how do I do this? How do I launch a business? How do I get an LLC? How do I write a business plan? And so from there, this February, I launched the Nurse Shark Academy. So we started training individuals on how to open up their own business and really want to promote nursing.
That's amazing. I just really love that. That's one thing about nursing is there are so many avenues and so many opportunities. And so I think that's a great service because, many of us, we spend so many years at the bedside, and then we get an idea or we have a passion. We want to take that to the next level, but we know bedside nursing. We don't know business. We don't know all of that. So I think that's a really, really awesome service, Tina, that you provide. So in kind of wrapping things up, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to talk about, anything about your business or anything maybe that we missed to kind of wrap things up?
Yes, I'm part of an initiative with Ladies of Justice, and that's where I do my will workshop. It's a Ladies of Justice event, and our mission is to help improve lives with our services and provide women the opportunity and environment to build their belief and confidence, step into their greatness and power, control their lives, and create choices and live a purposeful life. And so with that philosophy, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing the will workshops, is because I want to empower people. And so we do have services that are available, and we all over the country. Our company works all over the United States and Canada and parts of the United Kingdom now, and we've been around since 1972. So this company's been around for a long time, and we're offering affordable legal services so that you can get your wills completed, but not just for your wills, but also other legal issues that may come up, like traffic tickets. You may have questions on a document that you want reviewed, cell phone contract, that type of thing, landlord-tenant issues. You have a new lease agreement you want reviewed. So we have a full service provider law firms that can assist you.
And how would people get in touch with those types of services?
You can, and you know what? Can I type in the chat?
I believe you can.
Okay, let me see.
Let me see if I've not had someone do that before, so we'll try that.
Let's see. I see the comments. Okay. Here it is. Perfect. I'm
Okay,
going to put the website in there for you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Here's the website, and that takes you to Baxter Professional Services, ladiesofjustice.com.
Okay.
And you can go there and you can find the information to help you get you signed up for your wills. And I also take consultations. So if anyone would want to do a one-to-one with me, you can certainly go on the website and request a consultation, and I can walk you through the program and how it can best benefit you. The great thing about it is it doesn't just cover the individual, but it can cover their entire family that's in their household.
That's amazing.
That includes your minor children. And you
That's
wouldn't believe
amazing.
that minor children need legal services, but with the things that happen today, identity theft and the harassment sometimes and bullying that goes on in school, yeah, they made an attorney too. So
Wow. That's just, I'm going to ask one last question. We'll wrap
sure,
it up. You are just a bundle of passion. So how do you, okay, I'm going to ask a business question here
sure.
for all the maybe nurse entrepreneurs out there. How do you keep this all straight? How do you stay organized with everything?
Time blocking.
Okay.
I've really gotten really good at time blocking and making my priority. So today was a day for me to attend meetings. I had board meetings and networking meetings set up for today. But I also knew that I had my live show that I do, and then I had your show today. So I schedule things, and then I don't forget the downtime. I schedule the downtime. You've
Mhm.
got to learn to put some time in for yourself for your mental health. My background happens to be geriatrics and mental health. So I really want people to take those vacations. And if you need a mental health day, you have my permission to take one.
There, you got it right from the nurse practitioner.
Yes.
Well, it's been awesome having you on, Tina. I'd love to have you back sometime, in the future. I will let you know we did not get any questions. If someone comes up with one, I will certainly share those. But thank you for sharing all the information, what great services that you have to offer. So I encourage everyone, if you have a need, take advantage of those and check out, the websites. And with that being said, everyone, we hope you have a great night, and we'll be back again next week. So take care, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.